in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So when a woman hears those words, her whole life changes. Treatment options become priority.
And today, advances in technology are helping women facing the possibility of having their breasts removed. Options that help them strengthen their sense of wholeness and confidence.
This month, as we shine the light on breast cancer awareness, we travel to Rochester, New York to learn more about one woman's incredible journey.
My husband and I had just gone for a run. We were training for a half marathon at the time, feeling great. Nothing about my body was telling me that there was anything wrong. But as I was getting changed after getting out of the shower, I discovered a lump in my breast. And it wasn't like this little thing where I thought, oh, maybe that's nothing. It was sizable.
For 38-year-old Annie Murphy, a busy working mom, that lump was breast cancer. A trip to the doctor for a mammogram, ultrasound, and biopsy proved conclusive.
Cancer was not something that was on my radar. It was terrifying, shocking. The tumor in my breast was malignant and that it had spread to my lymph nodes. To what extent, we didn't know. So I found out that it was HER2-positive breast cancer, I think 2 days later. My OBGYN had received the results, and she called me to sort of talk through everything with me in a little more detail.
Once officially diagnosed with HER2-positive, an extremely aggressive form of breast cancer, she immediately went into action.
So chemotherapy started about a month after my diagnosis. It was very scary. I did get very sick. It was 6 treatments every 3 weeks. After the first treatment, I lost all my hair. I was very ill. A lot of abdominal sickness, nosebleeds that would last 3 hours, burning of my hands, not able to eat very much, mouth sores. I mean, it was spread out every 3 weeks. And so I would have good days and bad days. And on the good days, I would do whatever I could that made me feel good. And on the bad days, I would rest. And that was sort of how we got through those 18 weeks.
Family support during this time was critical. They rallied to help in any way they could, especially as the Murphys have a 3-year-old daughter, Frances, who didn't quite understand what was going on.
She would say, "Mommy, I don't like your hair. Mommy, where's your hair?" You know, and I'd say, "It's gonna grow back. You know, it's temporary." And I didn't want her to think that getting sick meant you lose your hair. I didn't want her to be thinking about this word cancer and be traumatized by it, you know, at such a young age.
In preparation for her surgery, she would have a bilateral mastectomy. Annie also met with a board-certified plastic surgeon.
When I met Dr. Amalfi, I just knew that she was the plastic surgeon for me. So I opted for a bilateral mastectomy. I wanted reconstruction to feel the same as I had before, and she is the final step of this process. I would say, especially for a young woman, it's a really important part because my body is so much of who I am, and I wasn't electing to have this surgery, and I wanted reconstruction and to not be reminded as much of what this past year was all about.
Annie is just an incredible patient that I've had the pleasure of taking care of. It was important for us to talk about what her breasts meant to her, how her breasts looked and felt to her, and what she wanted. So breast reconstruction is really a long journey for our patients. We can start immediately at the time of their mastectomy or their lumpectomy. We can either use a patient's own tissue to reconstruct a breast, or we can use a device, a breast implant. When we do implant-based reconstruction, it's a multiple procedure. And Annie really wanted a natural result, which is what a lot of my patients desire. She decided upon an implant-based 2-staged reconstruction. The first stage, we put in a tissue expander. And then very gradually in the office, we fill that up until she got to a size that she liked. Then we schedule a second surgery where we actually remove that expander and put in a permanent breast implant.
To help rebuild a breast shape in a natural way, they chose a breast tissue expander for her breast expansion process.
My patients really relate well to the tissue expander. It's shaped like a natural breast. And so from day one after the mastectomy, the woman looks down and sees something that looks and resembles like her native breast. And I know that when I go in and put my implant in, that patient's gonna have beautiful lower pole projection, which is gonna mimic a natural breast.
I think I had 3 fills. It's different. It's hard to explain, but uncomfortable for sure. But I wanted to look very much as I'd looked before, natural. Once we filled them to where we were comfortable, that is when we started to prep for the final surgery to place the implants.
There's a lot of things that go into my decision for which implant to use. The most important thing is to figure out what it is that the patient wants. Does she want a very natural look, a ptotic breast, meaning a breast that sags naturally like real tissue, or does she want a very full, prominent, projecting implant that looks more like a breast augmentation? I have tools to do both of those things. And so once we establish that, then we pick a device that can really deliver. The perfect implant for Annie was able to give her that soft, natural feel that she wanted, but it also had the firmness and projection that I needed to have a beautiful reconstruction.
I am happy with it. I mean, it's a big change. I would have never opted for augmented breasts, but I am happy with the results. I think it's pretty incredible what they're able to do. Reconstruction just felt like the right step, and I'm happy with that choice. For right now, just for getting back into my life as a young woman, as a mother.
After a life-changing year, Annie is back to work and grateful to be where she is.
It's almost incredible to look back on everything that happened in this last year and where I am today. And I'm so grateful, and we know how fortunate we are and how fortunate I am. My husband, we talk about this a lot, that bad things happen to good people. And, you know, there's no simple reason for this. You know, it's a new normal. I don't think my energy is fully back, and I definitely have days where I worry, but overall, for the most part, I feel really good.
We want to thank Annie for sharing her courageous story with us.
Absolutely, and you can learn more at thebalancingAct.com. Stay with us, we'll be right back.